Nothing to see here, just the nation's two top Democrats questioning election integrity. Biden, in his embarrassing speech and press conference yesterday, cast doubt on whether the 2022 midterm results would be legitimate if his divisive voting rights legislation wasn't passed.
If this isn't passed, do you still believe the upcoming election will be fairly conducted and its results will be legitimate?
Well, it all depends on whether or not we're able to make the case to the American people that some of this is being set up to try to alter the outcome of the election. The increase in the prospect of being illegitimate is in direct proportion to us not being able to get these reforms passed.
Man, I can still barely make it through that clip. But it's all a power play. He's trying to scare you by making you think if his agenda doesn't go through, elections will be rigged and America will be facing a doomsday scenario. But Joe's bills were blocked rightfully by the Senate yesterday, thanks not just to Republicans, but to Democrats. That didn't stop Joe's next in charge from, of course, spewing the same exact rhetoric today. Kamala blew up at an NBC host this morning in a round of media, what shall we call them, rehab interviews.
The issue is that there are two bills, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, that have been the solution that has been offered to address the fact that around our country, states have put in place laws that are purposely making it more difficult for the American people to vote.
The bills were debated and they didn't pass.
If I may finish, if I may finish.
But the specific question, if you don't mind, does he think, now that these bills haven't been passed, that the 22 midterms won't be legitimate or fair or free?
Let's not conflate issues.
Are we really surprised by any of this? Liberals have been undermining faith in our elections for decades. It's kind of something they do.
I'm very interested to know what is happening with the absentee ballots. There are too many allegations of irregularities. My advice to Al Gore is you keep fighting.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Concession means to say that the process was fair. I am complicit if I say that that system is fair.
That was the governor of Georgia, she thinks she is, and that was Hillary Clinton in 2019, 3 years later. You see, it never ends. But as for Joe, don't worry about him. His team did even more damage control.
He absolutely is not predicting that the 2022 elections would be illegitimate. The point he was making is that the former president asked a number of states, 7 or more in fact, to overturn the outcome of the election. Now, obviously, if there's an effort to do that, we've got to fight against that. That's what our commitment is to doing. But he was not making a prediction. He has confidence in the American people, and we're going to do everything we can to protect people's rights.
But the damage is already done. Joe's team can't clean up this mess anymore. He and Vice President Giggles have already said what they really believe, and America heard them loud and clear. The first time, the second time, and the third time. Joining me now, Missouri GOP Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, thanks so much for being here. After all of that, what did you hear?
Well, what I heard was what Joe Biden said loud and clear, which is he's already making excuses for why he's going to lose in November. And, Pete, that's what this is all about. Democrats don't accept elections that they don't win. I mean, it happened in 2000. It happened in 2004. It happened in 2016. Now it's going to be 2022. I mean, if Joe Biden thought that his party was going to win these elections, then all would be fine. But he thinks, and because the polls suggest, he's going to lose them. His party's going to lose them, the House and the Senate, and therefore they're illegitimate. I mean, it's dangerous, it's wrong, it's ridiculous, and everybody knows it's ridiculous, and yet there he is out there saying it.
Absolutely right. Yet, for them, 2020, totally above board. But Kamala says, now, this is an amazing clip, something she said in one of the interviews about when she talks to world leaders, they're questioning our voting system. Listen to Kamala Harris.
I've met with prime ministers and presidents from around the globe, both partners and allies of ours. They are asking, what is going on with voting rights in America? They are monitoring to wonder and question whether there is an erosion of our democracy and therefore an erosion of one of the best role models of what a democracy does and can do.
So, Senator, could it be that they're calling the White House because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden keep saying and building a straw man about their own legislation that creates confusion in the world that, my goodness, I don't know, in America, certain people are blocked at the polls and not allowed to vote?
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure that I really believe that little story that the vice president just told there, but if that is happening, I bet world leaders do have a lot of questions. They probably wonder who the heck is in charge in this White House, because it doesn't appear to be the President of the United States, and it sure doesn't appear to be the Vice President of the United States. So who is really running the show? And after this disastrous first year, I mean, the American people want to know what is going on, and this is why they're in such trouble come November. But the bottom line is this, Pete, that our democracy is strong, that the American people are strong and in charge, and their votes are the ones that count. Their voices are the ones that matter. And to try to delegitimize those ahead of time, to try to say that whatever decision the American people come to in November is illegitimate because you don't think you're going to like the outcome of it, boy, that is playing with fire, and that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. And unfortunately, they have a history of doing that, of thinking they know better than the American people do, and that's just the same song, 50th verse that we're hearing from them again.
You're exactly right, Senator. That's exactly what Joe Biden said from the podium. He effectively said, we need to explain this in even more simple terms because people just don't understand how awesome we are. That seems to be the refrain they always come up with. Senator Josh Hawley, thanks for your time. Appreciate it tonight.
Thank you.